all of that, 2 months ago, mum of 5, Alice Webb, tragically died after complications following a liquid Brazilian butt lift procedure carried out here in the UK.
The coroner stated the medical cause of death could not yet be confirmed as further investigation is needed. 2 people were arrested on suspicion of manslaughter and have been released on bail.
We're joined now by Alice's partner, Dane Knight, who's here alongside journalist Cree-Summer Haughton, who's fronting a new ITVX documentary on non-surgical cosmetic procedures.
And we've also joined by Cosmetic Physician Dr Manav Bawa. Thank you very much for being here this morning. Thank you. Good morning, Dane. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. Can we start off, can you tell us a little bit about Alice? Who was she?
Who was she?
Yeah.
Well, she was a loving, caring mother of 5.
Yeah.
She was loved and adored by many in the community and beyond, which that showed on, you know, on her day when she was put to rest.
Well, listen, we're so sorry for your loss, mate. So what were your thoughts when you first heard she was going for the liquid?
I didn't know. Until obviously we had to call from the hospital to get there, which I think was, you know, which is the scary part for most people or family members when someone goes for that kind of procedure. You know, it can be secretive or you know, it's done in privacy, and maybe you know, they go without getting it done without people knowing.
Yeah.
You know, until it's too late. So you know, it's. Yeah, I didn't know it was too late until we got a call from the hospital. Yeah.
Because obviously you hadn't spoken to her, had she done her research, do you know? Had she looked into it?
Yes, research was done. There was 2 types. As far as I know, excuse my terminology, there's the Turkey one, and then there's the UK one, the filler, and then the other one, you know, as far as some were concerned, the UK one, the filler one, was safe.
Yeah. And what sort of person was she? The sort of person who would have taken risks, or you?
Oh no.
You think exactly right? So she would have done her research.
She would have done her research. She would have looked into it as much as she could have. She wouldn't have risked this.
No.
Even that 1% chance, you know, of not seeing her kids again, she wouldn't have risked that.
Yeah. And she, obviously, she has 5 children that she's left behind. But you want this to be a cause for change, don't you? What would you like to happen? I know you're pushing for a law called Alice's Law. Yeah.
2 things. I think I would hate to see another family go through, you know, more kids saying, you know, burying their mum.
Yeah.
Another partner burying their partner. Another mum burying their daughter, and so on and so forth. I know, such as Ashton Safe Faces has been trying to push this now for a long time, which we didn't know.
Yeah.
Because it is not common knowledge. And obviously now, you know, we're starting to learn more. You know, more stuff's starting to come to light, but it's just not common knowledge. More needs to be done.
Thanks, Dave. Let's bring in Cree. Obviously, the cause of death hasn't been confirmed, but... And this is, like, you've been going down this rabbit hole for a while. So this raises questions around BBLs. Tell us about your research and the documentary.
I mean, I've been investigating this for over a year now, and it definitely begs the question as to if these procedures should even be done at all. For over a year, I've been speaking to victims who have luckily survived, and as we see in Dane's case here, these people are the lucky ones.
Yeah.
So when these procedures are advertised as safe, risk-free alternative, it's definitely not the case. And I think that the viewers at home need to know that it isn't safe, and people definitely need to do their research before
It feels like the Wild West out.
It does. It really
is.
Because you went undercover, didn't you? You were doing all your research, and actually someone can be qualified to do this in just a day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Isn't that shocking?
It's set up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I went on one of these training courses, and I think the red flags started before I even got there. They didn't ask me if I had any qualifications, any proof of experience. The thing that was really shocking when we got there was the fact that it was a house. It was advertised as a clinic. And there was only half an hour of theory before the first model arrives. Now, this model is an actual person. It's not a dummy. It's a person who's paid to be there, just at a discounted price. And you'll see in the documentary that it's actually so difficult to watch in the sense that she's in agony throughout the procedure.
Oh, yeah.
She's in agony, and we show this footage to an actual surgeon, and it reduces him to tears. You know, it was described as a catalogue of hazards, and I just couldn't put it into better words. It was just so disturbing.
Before we go to Dr Bawa, would you want regulation, or do you just think they need to be outright banned?
I mean, I spoke to Webb Streeting, who's the Health Secretary, and I think now's a really good time to point out that the previous government were looking into introducing something called a robust licensing scheme, which essentially would mean that these procedures would be categorised into red, amber and green. Right. Red being the most dangerous procedure.
All cosmetic procedures.
All cosmetic procedures, right? So red would be the most dangerous procedures like your BBLs, and that would mean that they would only be able to be performed by medical professionals. Yeah. So I took that to Webb Streeting, and you'll see in the documentary, to see if this government is looking to do something similar and if there's a time frame. The frustrating thing is that he couldn't give me a time frame. He assured me that he is looking into this. The really sad thing about it is the lack of urgency.
Yes.
And I think that that's the thing that is quite frustrating for everybody involved, isn't it?
Let's bring in Dr Bawa. Thanks for joining us, Doctor. Can you just explain exactly what is a liquid BBL and how it differs from a surgical procedure?
Yes, absolutely. And firstly, Dane, I'm really sorry to hear of your loss. It's tragic.
Thank you.
And the difference between a BBL, so a liquid BBL, is when we take a soft tissue filler or a dermal filler and we use that and inject it into the buttocks to volumize. Now, when we use this type of dermal filler in the face, and we do it very safely, but the amount of volume that is put into the buttock region is very, very high, up to 1 litre for each buttock at a time. And just to give you some perspective, where let's say if I'm doing a treatment for a nose using dermal filler, I'll use maybe 1/2 ml. So you can see it's very, very high volume. Now, compared to the surgical BBL, that's when fat is taken using liposuction and transferred into the buttocks to, again, create that volume and contour.
And what are your concerns here, as a professional and, working in the clinic?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is safety for patients, and being treated in an unsafe space where there is no sterility is the first problem. Also, anatomical knowledge. So as you guys just mentioned, people can go on a 1-day course and then set up a clinic in their own home. Now, what happened recently in 2018 were one of the plastic surgical bodies, BARBs, they said that even plastic surgeons shouldn't be doing the surgical BBL because of the risks. And what they did in 2022 was to give further advice that these treatments should only be done in a proper theatre, in a hospital, under ultrasound guidance. So you can see the problems that can occur. And so going back to safety, understanding the anatomy of the region and the volume that people are putting in, it's just, it can be a disaster, as we've seen.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Dr Bawa.
Thank you, Bawa.
And I think the biggest thing that you can take away from this is do your research. Yeah. I know that it's not conclusive yet, what the coroner has found. We have to wait for those results, but we are sending you all our love. Yeah. And thank you for coming on the show. Thank you so much. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.